I'm Alan Jackson. I'm Technical and Specifications Manager for Francis Flower, and I work for the Gypsol division. Gypsol is a brand name of the Francis Flower organisation. Gypsol is an anhydrite floor screed binder made using synthetic anhydrite, which we harvest from the acid production industry. We then manufacture it into a floor screed binder, and we supply that to screed manufacturers such as Cemex, Aggregate Industries, Hope Construction Materials, and a number of other smaller independents. They take our powder and they mix it into a floor screed. It's a very simple system. They add sand and water, and that's it. Floor screed is basically a layer of material which goes onto a rough construction floor, and it acts as a carrier for a floor covering or an underfloor heating system or those sorts of things. Gypsol is fairly versatile in the way it can be used. It's an alternative to a traditional sand cement screed, but it's got a lot more applications in which we can use it. For example, we can use it on timber floors, we can use it on very thin sections, we can use it to very thin depths on insulation. Depending on the application that you're looking for, we can look at a design application. So for example, a traditional sand cement screed typically would be installed at about 75mm on insulation. We can lay anhydrite screeds or Gypsol screeds down to a minimum of 35mm. What that allows us to do is to manipulate the specifications such that we can put more insulation in. Once you start putting more insulation in, you can start becoming much more thermally efficient and much more environmentally friendly in terms of your floor slab. Particular interest with underfloor heating, because the more insulation you've got underneath your screed, the more efficient your underfloor heating system will run. One of the other major benefits that we promote with underfloor heating is the fact that you can use much lower flow temperatures. A typical flow temperature in an underfloor heating system using a traditional sand cement screed would be around about 45 to 50 degrees centigrade. With an anhydrite screed, a Gypsol screed, that can come down right down to about 30 to 35 degrees centigrade. So you've got the commensurate energy savings from your underfloor heating system, so it makes it much more energy efficient. There are no real bad points. We do get asked the question quite often on the stand. I guess in terms of where we pitch it, the advantages significantly outweigh anything that you might consider negative. It's stronger than traditional sand cement. You can lay it thinner. The material costs subsequently go down, so it can be cheaper. You can use it with thicker insulation, so your energy costs, your energy usage costs go down. So there's an awful lot of advantages that you can use. It's also, because it's made using a synthetic material harvested as a waste product from another industry, you've got a good environmental credential with it as well, which means that if you're looking to secure, for example, Code for Sustainable Homes points or BREEAM assessment points, you can use this material to actually help you to achieve what you need from an environmental perspective. In terms of its limitations, there are one or two areas that you wouldn't want to use it. For example, it's designed as a domestic or a foot traffic material, so light commercial and foot traffic, so you wouldn't put it in a factory floor, for example. You wouldn't put it into an application where it's outdoors. It's designed to take a subsequent floor covering, and it is designed for internal use only. So you can't build your patio using these types of materials. We do have one configuration. There's 11 products within the system. We have one configuration which is unique to us, where you can use it as a polished system. So you can avoid the need for floor coverings altogether if you want to. That is something that nobody else in the UK can actually do at this moment in time. Anhydrite screeds, Gypsol screeds are unique in that perspective. As well as the polished system, we have a number of other systems available, two of which are particularly interesting to us at the moment. One is called the Solida system, which is designed primarily to encourage the mass housing market to use underfloor heating systems upstairs and downstairs instead of traditional radiator systems. It seems a little bit illogical to us at the Gypsol team to heat water up to 80 degrees centigrade to put it through a radiator system and then cool it down to put it through an underfloor heating system. Many house builders who are using underfloor heating at the moment only use it downstairs, and they'll use traditional radiators upstairs. So we've developed the Solida system to replace those radiators, and it can be laid on a standard timber floor. The design tests that we've done, the construction testing that we've done, includes a 220mm I-joist set at 450mm centres with a 22mm OSB deck, and then you can screed on that with an underfloor heating system. That again is fairly unique to an anhydrite screed. You can't generally do that with a traditional sand cement screed. The benefit of that for a mass house builder means that because he's losing the radiators upstairs, he can actually gain 10% more usable space within his rooms, because if you think about where you put a radiator, you can't put furniture in front of the radiators. If you've got underfloor heating, such restriction doesn't exist. Now that means that effectively you've got a 10% bigger room space that you can sell on to your client. That can have some very interesting commercial benefits to a mass house builder. The other system that we promote quite heavily is a system which is geared specifically for underfloor heating. Underfloor heating is becoming more and more popular these days, and people want to get the system as efficient as possible. The way to keep a system efficient is to use low flow temperatures and fast response. So we've developed a system called HTC, which stands for high thermal conductivity, and that has a much higher thermal conductivity than a traditional sand cement screed, typically just over twice as conductive. So that makes it much more efficient when it comes to using underfloor heating. Well, that's 3 of the systems that we've got available. There are 11 configurations in the range, which means that we've got a system pretty much to suit every application. Now what we tend to find, because people are building generally bespoke designs, we have a specification service available, so we can help you choose the right product, the right configuration for your particular application. And we will help you with an MBS specification to optimize not only the design, but also we look at things like the cost to build, the cost to run, etc., etc. So we've got a full service available, and that's all free of charge.